Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm reviewing a book by Love Belvin. Love Belvin is a Black indie romance author, and she is one of my favorite authors because I feel like she writes books that really challenges her readers to stop and evaluate how they feel in different circumstances and situations that she writes about. Um, so I think that she is the perfect author for people who are overthinkers like myself. But even if you aren't an overthinker and you just really want to read a good book, then you're still going to love this author because the books are going to be well written, the storytelling is going to be outstanding, and the characters are going to be, it's going to be like you really know them personally. So she usually writes books in series, like 2 to 3 books per series. And I've read all of her series and I love them all. But I don't know how to review a series in a 15-minute video. So I'm going to review one of her standalone books. So today I'm reviewing Love's Inconvenient Truth. This is the first book that I read by Love Belvin, and I've loved her ever since. This book is about Elle Jarreau and Jackson Hunter. And Elle and Jackson are two scarred, haunted, just really broken people. And when we meet them, they are in the midst of rebranding themselves from past that they aren't, I don't know, necessarily proud of. So they kind of wanted to start all over. I think that this is I don't want to say an enemies to lover because that's not what this is, but there's some tension there when they meet each other. So maybe this is just like a tense to lover book. I don't know if that's a category. Elle is a older woman. Well, she's 35, but she's 9 years older than Jackson. So this is an older woman, younger man romance. And I think this is really just a story about forgiving yourself, learning to love yourself, not defining yourself by past mistakes. This is a story about finding worth in yourself and also finding yourself worthy to be loved by someone else. This is a really emotional, heartbreaking, joyous. It runs the gauntlet of emotions in this book. You're gonna feel everything, and it's a really gratifying read. And I think one of my favorite things about this book is how much it forces you to evaluate, who you are and how you got to be the way that you are. Elle is easily one of my favorite Love Belvin characters. She's definitely top 5 for me. And I just really love her. This story is told by her. But on the second read, I'm shocked to see how much of Jackson actually shows up. Like how much we hear from him, even though we don't hear from him, but how strong his character comes through in this story. And I think that when I first read the book, I was probably like just so enamored with Elle that I didn't look out for Jackson in the way that I should have. But his voice definitely came through on the second read for me. So, like I said, this is a really great story. And next we're going to get into some of the reasons why I really like this story. So, even though I really love everything about this story, what I really love about this story is Elle. Like I said, when we meet Elle is 35. So she's mid-30s. And to be honest, Elle is just really starting to discover who she is at this age. And I think it's kind of refreshing to read a book where someone is over the age of 30 and discovering who they are, because I think that is realistic, even though we don't get to see it in literature, often. Usually by this age, the characters are established and well on their way. And she's not. She is really just learning about who she is. And Elle she grew up in a tough environment. And, she's had some things happen to her in her early 20s that have prevented her from being able to really explore who she is. And when I met Elle, I was like, oh, I don't know about Elle. Elle is dismissive. She's a little cold. I don't know about her. But that's just not who Elle really is. And there's so many layers to Elle, and there's so many things that happen to Elle that have formed who she is. And Elle has designed her life just based on all of the regrets that she has in her life. And sometimes I really feel like I connected with Elle's character, because sometimes you think about, you know, the mistakes that you made, and you're constantly beating yourself up about those mistakes. And this is just, you know, but from the outside looking in, it forces you to just, you know, be a little bit more careful with yourself. Show yourself some grace. And I really feel like throughout this story, Elle learns to show herself some grace. Elle is never a person who plays the victim. And even though I'm going to say, I feel that there were several moments in her life where she could have defined herself as a victim, I don't think Elle ever defines herself as a victim. She owns everything that she's done, all the decisions she's made, and every outcome that happens as a result. She owns it all. And even though she's owning everything, she's not really addressing anything. She's just owning it and trying to be a different person, but she never really stops to analyze why any of these things have happened. And you see the result of that when we meet Elle, is a person who doesn't know themselves, who doesn't love themselves as much as they could, and who just, this girl needs a hug. She needs a hug. She needs a friend. But anyway, we see her journey to her really, really discovering herself and who she is at the core. All the layers are peeled back. And I just really love who she becomes and how she gets there. So I really love that aspect of the book. And Jackson is, now that I'm hearing from Jackson, I can say that Jackson is almost a mirror image, almost but not quite, a mirror image of Elle. And Jackson is just not who you expect a 26-year-old to be. And we find out how he got to be the way he is. And he's just, Jackson is solid in ways that you wouldn't expect. I mean, you don't even see a whole lot of older men, you know, much older than him, solid in the ways that he is. And but the story about how he became that way is just as emotional, it's just as heartbreaking as Elle's. So to see these two grow individually and to grow together is just a really great journey. And like I said, it forces you to think about your life, and if you are just accepting things that have happened to you, or are you recovering from them? Are you addressing them? Are you really, you know, loving yourself and giving yourself the grace and the care that you need? So I definitely recommend reading this book, and really, you know, I mean, you don't have to be an overthinker, but just really seeing how Elle has addressed, well, not addressed things, but more so covered them up. So like I said, it's a journey to healing. So definitely check that out. So I want to talk about some of my favorite scenes in the book. I usually try to keep these to around 10, but sometimes I go over. I think I did pretty good this time though. I'll be talking about my favorite scenes, but they won't be giving away like any spoilers or anything like that. So if you haven't read the book, you can watch this portion of the video, and you know, if you decide to read the book, then you can just look out for the scenes. My first favorite scene is the showdown in the conference room between Elle and Jax, where they're trying to determine which one of them is more full of it. This is a hilarious scene. This and the lunch that follows after. Elle gives Jackson the business. And it's just a very memorable scene by her. After that, I have the bathroom scene at the company's party with Elle and Clarice. Clarice is Elle's friend. when they are being petty to the youngins. And it's just really funny, but it also like forces you to think back to when you were like in your early 20s and some of the silly and stupid ideas that you had about aging. Um, After that, I have Elle's discovery that she has a heart. She goes out to Jackson's estate and meets his little sister Candace. And it shocks her and shocks me too to discover how much of a heart she actually does have. After that, I have, oh, Jackson's first gift to Elle. He gives her a gift after the awkward encounter that they've had. And I just feel like you see in this scene that Jackson is really trying to get to know Elle and really trying to understand who she is. And I just think that it's a really great scene between them, even though Jackson's not there. And oh, actually, I googled the gift that he gave. I do that. I googled the gift, and it's a real gift. And I feel like it was so perfect for Elle, and it really spoke to who she was. So I think that's a really good scene. After that, I have Jackson introducing us to his father, us and Elle, one morning at his estate. I think that we learned so much about Jackson and who he is and how, you know, some important things that have shaped him in the scene. And it's just a really sweet scene. After that, I have Jackson getting Elle a little bit tipsy, just a little bit, so that he can address the intimacy issue between them. Elle has turned their agreement into something that he wasn't really looking for. It's not what he was expecting when he signed up for it. So he needed to address that. And I just feel we learned so much about Elle in this scene. After this, I have Elle and Jackson's trip home to Elle's childhood house. And this one's a hard scene, but it really helps us to see how Elle got to be the way she is. And it also showcases Jackson's protective side. So I really like this scene. After that, I have Jackson's birthday party and the breakfast that they share with Asmir and Raina the following morning. I am a person who loves to see old characters in new books. So I really love this visit by the Jacobs. I really love seeing them. And it's also when I realized that Elle cannot stop lying to herself. She does this throughout the whole scene. So that's a really good scene. Oh, after that, Elle womaning up and owning, well, actually just sharing all of herself for the first time with Jackson at the ski trip that they went on. It's a really heartbreaking scene, but I was so proud of Elle. I just did not think she was gonna get there, and she did. It was a proud moment. Next up, I have nosy ass Elle in her secret mission. This is another heartbreaking scene, but what we really get to see is some deep layers of Jackson, and also we get to see Elle and Jackson stand up for each other, and I just think that it's a really good scene. Lastly, I have the budding relationship between Elle and Raina. Like I said before, I am a person who loves to see old characters in new books, and if you read Raina and Asmir's story, you know Raina took us through it, and to see her now advocating for others' healing herself, developing real friendships, giving advice, giving a relationship advice. I just never thought we would see it. And it was just a proud moment. So those are some of my favorite scenes that I think that you should look out for if you check the book out. So like, just as a recap, I like to at the end of the review, determine who won the book and you know, who's the most standout character, and also who benefits the most from entering into this relationship. As far as who won the book, I think this is a tie. It's my first ever tie, but I think that it's even crazy to think that it could be a tie because we don't hear directly from Jackson in this book, but the way he is written, what we see of him, you know, through his interactions with Elle, he is just such a strong character. So even though we don't directly hear from him, his character, his struggles, his journey, they come through clearly. And Elle, you know, she's just so complex and many layered and such a strong character. I actually really do believe that this is a tie. As far as who benefits most from entering into this relationship, definitely Elle. Those walls Elle had built up were ironclad. And I just don't think anybody but Jackson could have gotten through them. The patience, the perseverance, the love that he showed, the support. I don't think anybody but Jackson could have given that to Elle. And his guidance, you know, with teaching her how to show grace to herself and show her that she is, you know, deserving and worthy. I don't think anybody but him could have taught her that because he had to learn that himself through his own life experiences. So I think that Elle definitely benefits the most from entering into this relationship. So that is my review. Thank you for watching. I really, really think that you should read this book. Honestly, I kind of think that you should start from the beginning of Love's catalog, just because the universe is like so intertwined. But if you just want to try her out before you take that long journey, then definitely, you know, start here and get to know her and her writing through Elle and Jax. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. As far as book reviews, I'll probably be reviewing a book by Millie Belzer next. I think that's how you say her. I hope that's how you say her name. But anyway, I'll be reviewing one of her books next. So look out for that. And I guess I will see you guys next time. Bye.